quality of content you consume dictates the quality of life you live. Today, we'll talk about the intellectual frontier, what it is and why it's important, accelerate the science behind rapid skill acquisition, breakthrough, engineering a just-in-time information diet for success, and the focus formula, becoming indistractable in a distracted world. In the last module, we learned about the success equation and found 3 areas of internet to explore. We learned that there are 2 things you need to succeed and reach synthesizer freedom. You need income skills, which is a combination of selling and writing, and you need a superpower, which is just a combination of your strengths and your passions directed towards 3 areas of the internet to explore. This module will teach you the process to build your income skills and develop your superpower inside of your 3 areas of interest, starting with the intellectual frontier. The intellectual frontier is a vast, uncharted territory between known information and unknown, where new knowledge and insights are found. The brave ones who advance to the frontier find new and more lucrative opportunities, while the ones who stay safely within the known get left behind. Kurt Vonnegut says, "Out on the edge, you can see all kinds of things you can't see from the center." The real value of synthesizing is where you push the frontier and come back with insights the market doesn't yet have or understand. When you share these things, you help others and the market lucratively rewards you. But exploring the unknown is difficult. Many attempt it, but few succeed in winning freedom. That's why, in the previous module, we found your superpower, the tool to explore the frontier and succeed. And don't worry if it's not clear now, it will never be clear. It's just orienting you in the right direction. And then we see the difference of what you can achieve without your superpower versus with your superpower. See, the reason we focus on working aligned with our passions and strengths is it allows you to go way further. The passion and the energy and the excitement can push you towards the intellectual frontier and beyond, which is where the truly valuable insights are found. Naval Ravikant says, being at the extreme of your art is very important in the age of leverage. You see, the frontier is a goal, not a requisite for success or synthesizer freedom. We are always progressing towards the frontier and beyond the frontier. We will never truly arrive there. Again, this is just orienting you in the right direction. You can still generate significant income, even if you're not yet at the frontier. And even if you don't understand what that is, don't worry, we'll cover it throughout this module. The way you reach the extreme is through learning, and the way you learn is through consumption and action. Which brings us to accelerate, the science behind rapid skill acquisition. Evan Williams, co-founder of Twitter, Medium, and Blogger, says, "The information we consume matters just as much as the food we put into our body. Our information diet is as important as our nutrition diet." But for most people, consumption hinders their growth. For others, it accelerates them into rapid skill acquisition. For example, Mr. Beast, with 335 million subscribers, he obsessively learned YouTube. He said he woke up, I studied YouTube, I studied videos, I studied filmmaking, I went to bed, and that was my life. And now he makes videos that no one has ever seen before. And if you were to take it all away from him, his face, his fame, his recognition, his channel, and you were to start him again, he would be able to reach 1 million subscribers far quicker than other people would because of the knowledge and wisdom that he has because of the things that he's learned, consumed, and acted on previously. And Alex Hormozi, who has a $100 million net worth, he spent all of his money on education and courses. He says learning one skill isn't enough, and now he lives on the frontier of business, and it wouldn't have happened if he didn't have such a focus on consuming the right information. How can some people master complex skills quickly while it takes others a lifetime? Well, that's neural plasticity. The brain learns by forming connections between neurons, a process called neuroplasticity. This ability to form new neural connections is influenced by the information and experiences your brain processes. Put simply, inputs equals outputs. And if you want better outputs, you want a better life, you want to make more impact, be more aligned with your purpose, generate income, reach synthesizer freedom, those are all outputs. Those are great outputs, and great outputs require great inputs. You are what you consume. And most people think they need to spend 10,000 hours consuming and making mistakes to get the output they want. But now you can find a mentor who's already spent 10,000 hours to get the output and learn the lesson of how they got there in 10 minutes. Which brings us to the digital influence. You see, before, you were the average of the 5 people you spent the most time with. Now, you're the average of the 5 people whose content you consume the most. And creativity comes from consuming. Creativity doesn't just come from creating something from scratch. It's not some magical epiphany moment that happens in the shower where you create something brand new just from the brain that you have. It comes from consuming the best stuff humanity has created and synthesizing it into your own unique art. So if you want to be creative, consume good stuff. And you want to seek wisdom. You see, natural curiosity creates natural learning. The more wisdom you gain, the faster you will achieve your goals. And the reason for this is because where you are and where you want to get to, there is a long route to get there and there is a short route to get there. The reason it takes so many of us so much time to reach our goals is because we take the long route. We spend most of our time doing things that don't directly contribute to us reaching our goals. Whereas if we had wisdom, if we were able to see the world clearly, we were able to see the world as it is, and we were able to identify the cause and effect chains that, when executed, take us on the direct path towards our goals, then you can compress a 10-year goal into 10 months or even 10 weeks. That's why if you were to take Mr. Beast, take everything but his knowledge away from him, he would be able to get to where he wants to get to far quicker than you or I, because he has the knowledge required to help him identify what are the few actions that lead to the huge results. It's wisdom, which comes from learning. Start copying what you love. Copy, 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 copy. And at the end of the copy, you will find yourself. Don't be afraid to copy. Great artists steal. And that's why we start by consuming. The first of the 7 C's is consume. Specifically, targeted consumption. You see, intentional selection and consumption of high-quality content that aligns with one's interests and areas of design expertise. This is the secret. And I've noticed that there are 2 ways people tend to consume content. They either consume it just in case, or they consume it just in time. And car manufacturers used to create parts like exhaust, tires, wheels, and engines just in case they needed them. They were there, ready, in storage, all of these different parts, just in case they needed them. But this was costly, and it took a ton of time and storage in order to have all of these parts ready just in case they were needed. Then Toyota revolutionized the industry through the just-in-time system, where they created each part just as it was needed. Now this was cheaper, more efficient, and took no storage. Similarly, a lot of people consume content just in case they need it. But this wastes a ton of time and cognitive load. The better approach is to consume content just in time. Instead of passively consuming, you only actively search for knowledge for problems that you're experiencing as they come up. If you just sit down and you read a random book, or you go to YouTube and you watch random business videos, the likelihood that the information that's given to you directly solves your current bottleneck and moves you forwards rapidly is very, very slim. On the other hand, the likelihood that you sit down and you think, what's the thing that if I solve will help me reach my goal? And then you go out and actively look for information to solve that specific problem. The likelihood that then you find the right information is so much higher. Never consume content just in case. Only consume content just in time. Just in case consuming is passive, time consuming, and leads to slow breakthroughs, whereas just-in-time consuming is active, efficient, and leads to fast breakthroughs. So before, you'd open your phone and consume what your homepage puts in front of you. After, you intentionally select knowledge to consume that solves problems and builds your knowledge. For example, if you were struggling to paint a sunset, you would search for all of Bob Ross's best sunset painting videos and organize and catalog his techniques to take action on them. The problem comes first, then the information consumption comes second, not the other way around. And I take this so much to the extreme that whenever there's someone that I find that I really want to learn to help me solve a specific problem, I'll go and I will get all of the information they've ever put out on the internet, and I'll put it all into a searchable database. This is overkill for many people, but this just shows how seriously I take things. For example, Naval Ravikant. I wanted to learn from him his business mentality when I was in the phase of trying to figure out what business to start next. So what I did was I scraped all of his tweets, I scraped all of his content on the internet, I scraped all of the books that he recommended, I scraped all of his blog posts, I transcribed all of his guest interviews, I transcribed all of his MP3s, got all of his quotes, even put his book and all of his periscopes transcribed, as well as scraped his entire Twitter into a searchable database, so that whenever there was something that I wanted to learn from him, say that I wanted to learn from him something about decision making or finding an opportunity, now I could go into this searchable database and find every single thing he's ever said about this one specific topic, so that instead of sitting and just watching hundreds of hours of content, which may contain one nugget that's directly applicable to me today, I could spend my time consuming directly about the specific thing that I wanted to learn about, even if it was scattered across thousands of pieces of content. Putting this all in a digestible format, search is your best friend. You don't need to go above and beyond and create these crazy databases. I use this so that I could better search. If there's something specific that you want to learn, what you do is you search. You either search on Google or you search on YouTube, or even you can search specific people's profiles who you know have great content about that specific thing. For example, you can use Twitter Advanced Search in order to search someone's specific profile to find all the information they've ever said about that one specific word. Or you can even use Google and you can search the thing that you want to learn about with a space and then the name of the person you know who has great content about that thing. You want your content to primarily come from things you're actively seeking through search. And you want to ask this question when consuming information online. What's the number one thing I need to learn about to change my life? And the goal of consuming information is to create behavior change, not to feel good, be entertained, or even learn something new. If the content you're consuming doesn't lead to behavior change, it's not worth consuming. Which leads us to breakthrough knowledge. This is information that can fundamentally change one's life or career. Warren Buffett credits the book The Intelligent Investor for changing the way he views stock prices. This was the breakthrough knowledge that helped him create Berkshire Hathaway, now valued at a crazy amount of money. One book led the foundational knowledge to create a hugely valuable company. Steve Jobs claims a calligraphy class he took in college was a pivotal influence on the design and aesthetics of Apple products. That class was breakthrough knowledge that changed the way he thought about design. And when I started out, I was lost. There was a time that I had a decent audience, but I still wasn't making enough to go full time, and it was really painful. Then I went through Sam Ovens Accelerator, and it walked me through step by step what I needed to do to monetize my audience. Now, I will say that that course is old and it's outdated, and I would not recommend it anymore, but that was my breakthrough knowledge. One piece of content completely changed my life. It took me from maybe $2,000 to $3,000 a month, up to $10,000 a month, up to $30,000 a month, and then up to $100,000 a month, all within the space of a couple of years. And breakthrough knowledge exists for all problems you have. You can consume one YouTube video, article, book, podcast, or course and have your life changed forever. That's why it makes most sense searching for that piece of content instead of just consuming anything that's given to you. The problem is, it's scattered across millions of different social posts and platforms and sources, and it takes thousands of hours to consume and organize and put things together. That's why, for this specific area of educational creators and business, we spent the time finding all the best breakthrough knowledge and did the hard work of putting it together in one place inside of this course. So this is the only source of breakthrough knowledge that will help you go from no success online to freedom as an educational creator. And that's why we recommend no longer consuming any business content or any content creation related content until you fully completed and executed on this course. If you consume more than just this, you'll get distracted and you'll try to do too many different things and too many different ideas, and you'll make no progress. It's better just to commit to one body of information until you maximize and utilize it before moving on to the end. That's why when I was going through Sam's accelerator, as I mentioned here, I only consumed his content and I executed on everything that he told me to do, and that focus allowed me to make rapid progress. Finally, we lead to the breakthrough. This is engineering your content diet or your information diet for success. Charlie Munger says, in my whole life, I've known no wise people over a broad subject matter area who didn't read all the time. None. Zero. Notable cases is Elon Musk, who grew up reading 2 books a day, Mark Zuckerberg, who reads at least 1 book every 2 weeks, Arthur Blank, co-founder of Home Depot, reads 2 hours a day, Dan Gilbert, owner of the Cleveland Cavaliers, reads 1 to 2 hours a day, Oprah Winfrey, critic books as her path to personal freedom, Barack Obama, Warren Buffett, Bill Gates. Everyone takes content consuming very, very, very importantly. And Sam Ovens' accelerator was 200 hours long, but I binge watched it twice. Benjamin Franklin says an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. But just like the stock market, not all information is made equal, and not everyone gets results from partaking in it. See, 5.52 billion people have access to the internet, yet there's a huge disparity between people having access to the internet and people using it the right way. This is a source of incredible suffering. You see, knowledge has never been more accessible or high quality, but also distractions have never been more accessible or higher quality. The people that create the distractions nowadays are amazing at creating their distractions. And that's why most creators' focus is like twisting unorganized lines of thought. They waste tons of time and money on knowledge, but it leaves them worse than they were before it. Their brains are overwhelmed with information. I see so many people wasting so much time and money spent on mentors and business mentors who just aren't good enough to be justified the time or the attention or the price that you're giving them. If anything, you should fully shut them out, fully ignore them, because they're just distractions. The synthesizer's focus is like a direct line. They know where to spend their time, they know what business to run, they know how to run it, and they consume from one trusted source of information at a time and use it to actually take action instead of just constantly, productively procrastinating through consumption. Which brings us to cognitive load theory. This reveals the limitations of your mind. So your brain is like a computer's RAM. It only has so much space to store and remember information. Consuming too much results in stress, overwhelm, inability to make decisions, and ultimately failure to reach your goals. Even worse, most information is really bad. There are very few things that are absolutely amazing and help people succeed. This means most people waste a ton of time and money in the search for breakthrough knowledge, whereas I've spent $50,000 and 10,000 hours in pursuit of it. But after the $50,000 was spent, years of work applying information, seeing the best and worst go by, and helping thousands of others, I've learned how to discern what is worthy investment and what isn't. And that's why throughout this course, I'll be boiling it all down into one and recommending things for you to go through. I've spent the money, I've seen what's worth it and what's not worth it, and I've boiled it all down into this course for you to follow for free if you want to, with shortcuts that are optional if you want to speed up your results. Finally bringing us to the focus formula, becoming indistractable in a distracted world. Productive procrastination. This is when creators enroll in multiple courses without finishing any of them, read half a book before picking up another, and alternate between multiple different podcasts, YouTube videos, and other platforms while failing to take action, which leads us to the incompatible puzzle problem. When you take small puzzle pieces from different sources of information, and you're shocked when you try to put it together and it doesn't get the outcome that you want. The one source rule says to consume one trusted source of information per topic. And the topics that you've chosen is 3 areas of the internet for you to explore, which we've covered previously, as well as income skills, which you need to get good at. This course will cover everything you need for income skills, and then for the 3 areas of the internet that you want to explore, it's better to pick one source for each of them and then go deep on each of those different sources. You see, one source of breakthrough knowledge per area of interest is all you need. Everything else will pull you off course and make you waste time. Simon Sinek says, words may inspire, but only actions create change. And so many people consume content hoping to get inspired, when in reality, action is the only thing that actually makes change. Which is why our learning process is consume, act, and learn. Do not get caught solely in consuming. Make sure you act on the things you consume. Which finally brings us to the 5-hour rule. Time block 1 hour per day, 5 days a week to consume targeted quality information. Put it in your calendar, turn your devices on Do Not Disturb, and use that time to obsess over learning. These modules start with knowledge and end with action. That is how you learn, build your skill set, and get closer to your goals. All of the information in the world is useless without action. So the action step will be below this video in a post. And this is where the true value of this module will come. If you've watched this video, but you don't do the action step, you've completely missed the mark. The action step beneath this video will walk you through step by step how to find breakthrough knowledge and change your information diet to lead to higher quality inputs, which will lead to massively successful and higher quality outputs. So make sure you complete the action step beneath this video.